London. It's one of the most famous names on the entire planet. But what if I told you that no one actually knows what it means? I mean, really think about that for a second. It's this absolute giant of a city. Finance, culture, history, it's all there. The name alone brings up so many different images for all of us. And yet, its origin is a total blank.
And we're not just talking about something we don't know. The world's top historians, the smartest linguists, they're stumped too. This name, this single word, has literally outlasted empires, and it has never, ever given up its secret.
Okay, so where do we even start with a mystery this old? Well, the first question has to be, who could have named it? Was it the Romans, the Celts, or could it have been someone who was here even before them?
All right, let's look at our first piece of hard evidence. The earliest name we have on record is Londinium. The Romans wrote it down back in the 1st century. So that's it, right? Case closed. The Romans showed up, they slapped a name on it.
Well, yeah, not so fast. See, the Romans were fantastic at keeping records, but they weren't really in the business of inventing new names for big places. What they usually did was listen to what the local people were already calling a place, and then they just, write down a Latin-sounding version of that.
And that little detail, that changes everything. It pushes our timeline way back. If the name was already here when the Romans arrived, then our next logical suspect has to be the Celtic tribes, right? They were living in Britain for centuries before the legions ever marched in.
And for a long, long time, this was the go-to theory. Linguists dug into old Proto-Celtic languages, and they found this word londos. It meant something like wild, or fierce, or bold. So the idea was, the name was describing the place by the river, a wild, untamed, kind of dangerous river. And you know what? That makes a ton of sense.
It's a really solid theory. But some experts started thinking, what if that's not the whole story? What if there's another layer, something even deeper? And this other possibility? Well, it's a lot stranger.
This brings us to a much lesser-known idea, one that completely reframes the whole question. It basically suggests we've been looking at the name completely backwards.
So what if London wasn't the name of a place, but a description of a condition, a physical state that was unique to this one spot on the river?
And some researchers think the name actually meant the dark, flooded place. You have to remember, the ancient Thames wasn't the nice, tidy river we see today. It was this huge, sprawling, unpredictable marsh. Basically, a swamp.
Now, if that's true, then London wasn't some friendly invitation. It was crucial survival information. It was a warning, passed down from generation to generation. Hey, this place floods, be careful.
But we're still not at the bottom of this rabbit hole. The investigation goes one step further, to the deepest, most mind-bending theory of all. This is one that connects the city to a world that is completely lost to us.
Okay, get this. Some linguists now think the name isn't Latin, it's not Germanic, it's not even Celtic. They believe it's a relic, like a little linguistic fossil, left over from a pre-Indo-European language. We're talking about a language spoken by the very first people who settled here after the Ice Age, a language that has totally, completely vanished from the earth.
Just look at this timeline to get a sense of the scale we're dealing with. If this theory holds water, the name London is older than the Celtic languages in Britain. It's older than the Roman Empire. It's older than pretty much every language spoken in Europe today. It's ancient.
I mean, just let that sink in for a minute. Entire civilizations have disappeared. Empires rose, they fell, they turned to dust. Countless languages were born and then died out forever. And somehow, through all of that chaos, this one word, this one sound, survived. It's like a fossilized echo from a world we can't even imagine.
So, what if the reason it's a mystery is because we've been asking the wrong question all along? What if we've been trying to find a direct translation for a word when we should have been trying to understand something else?
Maybe the true meaning isn't a definition you can look up. Maybe it's more like a feeling, an atmosphere, that's been carried down through thousands and thousands of years. And that feeling has like 3 main parts.
The first part is that deep, ancient sense of danger, the one that came from that wild, unpredictable river and all the marshland around it.
The second part is that feeling of fog, of mystery. You know, that sense of things being half hidden, just out of sight. It's an atmosphere that still totally defines London in books and movies today.
And the last part is a feeling of instability, a feeling of being built on shifting ground. Which makes sense, right? It reflects the old swamp, but it also reflects the city itself, always, constantly, relentlessly changing.
So you see, London isn't just a word, it's a trace. It's like the only footprint left behind by the very first people who stood on that shore, looked out at that dark water, and for some reason decided to stay.
And really, that's the heart of it. Whether you live in London or you've never been, we're all connected to this place whose very name is a living memory of a world that is otherwise completely gone.